Okay, good morning. Welcome to Spud Sanctuary. Today's going to be a different, a different style of video, and of course, this is for the Grim Dawn 10-year anniversary. And as of today, it was 4 days ago that this post was uploaded by Zantai from Grim Dawn and of course Creator Entertainment. 10-year anniversary. Yeah, Grim Dawn has started, has been released for 10 years now, and with one more expansion coming, which is the Fans of Aztekon. But let's quickly read through the first few paragraphs of the post. So first of all, happy birthday to Grim Dawn, one of my favorite ARPG games. Okay, so alright, let's see. It's wild to say that 10 years ago today, an upstart studio shipped a little game called Grim Dawn. What's mind-blowing to us is that the game went on to not only become a success beyond our wildest dreams at the time, but to become a staple in the ARPG genre. You know, as a fanboy, I have to agree with this. I mean, I absolutely agree with this. And as you can see probably from the tabs that I have prepared, there's a couple Wikipedia pages for one, Grim Dawn as the game itself, and two, as the Creator Entertainment and where they came from. So before I go into what I was going to talk about, let's talk about what they let's read on about their post. So Grim Dawn's success enabled Creator Entertainment to grow from a studio of just 8 people to a team of 29 today. This is Expedition 33 level team at the moment. So I do expect some great news out of them. Anyway, with 4 projects currently in development. Four projects. Okay. Your early support has allowed us to not only stay independent from publishers, but to pour our passion into each of our creations. Okay, likewise, when we started, we never could have imagined that 10 years later, Grim Dawn would not only still be receiving major updates, but it would have another expansion on the way. Our engineers bent the old engine to their will. Absolutely, the old engine. Holy crap about this engine. I mean, this engine basically came from, I believe, the predecessor of Creator Entertainment, which was Iron Lore, and that engine was built for Titan Quest. And when I picked up Titan Quest long time ago, and they still came in a box and a CD, and man, I was so impressed that you can knock your enemies halfway across the screen depending on how hard you hit them. And that was something that like Diablo 2 wasn't doing at that time. What else ARPG was happening at the time? Anyways, you know, that was what impressed me at the time, and I was so still impressed today that Grim Dawn is using that exact same engine, and they used it with the, you know, evolved it to what Grim Dawn is today. Alright. Even as recently as last year, let me highlight that. Even as recently as last year, we addressed bugs that have been there since Titan Quest. There we go. That's the root of the engine. Across 82 updates, both big and small, we refined and polished, revamping everything from melee animations to how Nemesis bosses spawn on the map. We overhauled loot tables and added loot filters, revamped UIs, and smoothed out the difficulty unlocks. Now with 1.3.0 on the way, truly nothing feels off the table to make the game better for you. Look at that. How many developers say, hey, this game is for you as the gamer, right? They are making this game for people who love the game. They are not going to come out here and say, yo, you hate it, just don't buy it, right? So yeah, they are truly making the game for the players, for the gamers. So anyways, after 10 years, Grim Dawn will have a modern scalable UI, something once thought impossible in an engine created when a 4:3 aspect ratio was still commonplace and 1080p was a luxury. An overhauled stash will greatly expand how you organize your awesome loot, and dare I say, more surprises are still in store for our fans of Astacon pre-patch. Okay. So then they moved on to talk about when they shipped their Forgotten Gods, which is their second expansion. The Ashes of Malmus was their first expansion in 2019, right? And we thought that scales would naturally decline and the game would be finished. And it seems like a fitting end, with some of our most epic boss encounters yet, and an infinite endgame mode to test the limits of your builds. But the Grim Dawn community surprised us again when in 2023 we found ourselves looking at growing players counts instead. Despite having 3 games already in development, we knew we had to reassemble the team for one more loop around the sun. As it turned out, that may have been a bit of an understatement as we enter 2026. So what they are saying here is, so fans of Astacon is going to be a lot bigger. And from what I have read, it's probably like 2 expansions were like amount of content put into the fans of Astacon. So yeah, like Grim Dawn is, when you look at the gameplay videos of Grim Dawn, I mean it does look dated because of this engine, but the gameplay loop is there, right? The theory crafting is definitely there. The fundamentals of combining 2 different masteries to create one playable character, and within the 2 masteries, the combinations of different skills and damage types and conversions, whether you like pets, 2-handed weapons, sword and board, the combination is almost endless. It is definitely more than the pure mastery combinations of 9 right now, which is it like, how does the math go? I'm so bad with math. Is it like 70 something combinations of mastery combinations at the moment? It's going to be like 80 something masteries with the Berserker extra class coming in. Yeah. On top of that, of course, you have like bleed builds, you have ether builds, you have vitality builds, you got pep builds, you got, the variety is endless. And that's what I love so much about Grim Dawn, is that theory crafting. You can think of something within the game and you go, alright, can I put it together? And then you go into the game and it kills, everything. It melts faces and you just feel so good. It gives you such a huge dopamine boost, right? It's an injection of dopamine into your brain. And when the builds that you come up yourself and you test it in the game in Grim Dawn and it works. It is so beautiful, and I think this is so good. And talking about the engine being old, yes, it is old. I seriously think, hope that Crate Entertainment will have a second brand new engine built for Grim Dawn 2, hypothetically speaking, Grim Dawn 2 with a brand new engine and still with, the class, the mastery combinations, everything is fine as it is. I'm not sure what new things they're going to add into Grim Dawn 2 if they are releasing Grim Dawn 2 in the future. but I fully support what they have done so far, and it's a big testament. It's a huge testament in the gaming community where they came from. Okay, they're going down to saying about the Fans of Aztecan development. Alright, so I'm not going to go into that. I want to actually look back into their past, where they came from, how Grim Dawn came to be, how the studio started, alright, where they came from. So, let's go to the Grim Dawn Wikipedia. Okay, let's go to the very top of it. So, we all know Grim Dawn is an action role-playing game, so ARPG, right, for Windows, and it's developed by Crate Entertainment. It was published in February 2016, which is exactly 10 years ago, and a version for Xbox was released in December 2021, 5 years later, or almost 6 years later. It is developed using the Titan Quest engine. It is set a thematically dark fictional world loosely based on Victorian era. It received generally favorable reviews from critics, who cares, right? Player loves it, and sold 7 million units, including its DLCs. So maybe by February 2022, and that is again saying how well received this is, right? This is at the level that's fairly higher up in terms of the amount the ARPG genre. All right, the plot, don't worry about it. I'll let you guys find out if you're interested in playing. If you haven't played it, go find out yourself. I highly recommend playing it, buying it. But for those who's already played it, you know the plot, you know the gameplay, you know the character factions. All right, let's go down to the development. So development is, they started with Crate Entertainment is the developer. They announced on July 27, 2009 that they had licensed a Titan Quest engine. And that came from Iron Law, which is their predecessor. And many of the developers who founded, who joined the Crate Entertainment at its initial start were from Iron Law, right? And so from Iron Law, and announced Grim Dawn's development in January 21, 2010. So development only started 6 months later. So initially few details were released, with Crate Entertainment stating that Grim Dawn is set in a thematically dark fictional world loosely based on Victorian era. Okay. Grim Dawn's development is notable for Crate Entertainment's open appeal to their fans for financial support. Cool. In a posting on the game's official website, the developers announced that after a period of increased email activities from fans wishing to donate to Crate to support the project, they had added a pre-order page to the game's official website, allowing fans to contribute to the project in an official manner. Now, I know I bought a Loyalist Edition Grim Dawn, which was 85 Australian dollars through the Humble Bundle. Humble Bundle. I think that's like a third-party outlet that handles that the crowdfunding. So the Royalist Edition, that was back in 2013. So I'm like 3 years into their development. But I bought my Loyalist bundle back in 2013 for $85. I mean, the game right now on Steam is not at $85, so you guys can get it a lot cheaper than what I paid for. But I think it's worth every single cent, considering I've already spent like more than a couple thousand hours into it. Alright, 15 days later, in another posting on the game's official website, Crate stated that they had received financial support from the gaming website Game Banshee and one of the authors of the gaming-related webcomic Penny Arcade. Despite this support from their fans and various website, Crate manager Arthur Bruno stated in an interview with The Escapist that pre-orders made for only a very small percentage of Grim Dawn's total budget. Okay, so that was only a little bit from the crowdfunding. In a later interview with the gaming website Big Download, Bruno again confirmed that donations and pre-orders alone were insufficient to fund the project completely. Additionally, Bruno revealed that Crate intended to provide new gameplay content for Grim Dawn through expansions every 6 or 10 months. And I think that's what happened back then. I think what I got... hold on, just reading on a bit, because I think my early experience with Grim Dawn happened after the next paragraph. So, on April 17, 2012, Crate Entertainment opened a project page on Kickstarter, setting a funding goal of $280,000. With the halfway point of this goal being reached in 4 days, it finished up with $537,515, and that's US dollars, and that's almost double. They got double with, they got double on what they actually originally asked for, well exceeding its initial funding goal. There we go. Yes, Crate released an alpha version of the game build through the Steam Early Access program on May 15, 2013. Okay, so that's where my experience started. Is from that point onwards, I think my memory is I bought a Loyalist pack, and we have the early access to the game, and the game was only Act 1. You can play all the way up to Warden Creek, and you can kill him, but going into Act 2, you had to fix the bridge. Of course, that trigger in the game was not, that's basically the end of the early access. You can't fix the bridge, so you can't go to Act 2. Yeah, so that's when I started playing, and then I remember they released the second act after that, as another, I think 6 or 10 months later. They were doing that rolling release, similar to what PoE 2 is doing right now. They released Act 1, 2, and 3 for PoE 2. Players are able to play it. They say it's early access, but you can buy things. It's a PoE 2's business model. It's a live service, right? You can pay. You can buy bags. You can buy cosmetics for PoE 2. But anyway, this is not about PoE 2. This is about Grim Dawn. And I remember when the game first released, it was just the masteries, and it was 6 masteries: the soldier, the demolitionist, the occultist, the shaman, and Nightblade. Is that 6? Oh my god, I lost count. Soldier, demolitionist, shaman, occultist, no, arcanist, and Nightblade. Right, that's the 6 classes you have, 6 masteries you have, and you can play around in there. And then they released their devotion system. Right, they included shrines throughout Act 1, and then you can go explore and then unlock your devotions. Yeah, they basically did a gradual release of the full game, and until now, like they're still going for now. So this is a success story that you don't hear very, very often at all for a video game, that it asked for crowdfunding, for donations, and they couldn't reach their goal, and it wasn't enough, and they went to Kickstarter. And we all know how successful games are. When they go onto Kickstarter, people basically become a scam website, right? and people ask for money. They never use that money to do what they tell us they would do, and they just run away with the money, right? But Grim Dawn and Crate Entertainment was able to take the money and deliver the game for us. And they promised they were gonna deliver Grim Dawn. They delivered it, and they exceeded everyone's expectations. And they continue to exceed our expectations and deliver the game that we gamers wanted. And they continue to serve us, and I look forward to the Fans of Aztecan expansion. I'll be jumping on it. I'll be taking days off from work just to play the game. Alright. Now, okay, so this is how Grim Dawn came to be. How Crate Entertainment came to be. So again, Crate Entertainment is... So let's go through this. So Crate Entertainment is an American independent video game developer based in Massachusetts. The company was publicly announced on February 18, 2008 by former member of Iron Lore Entertainment. There you go. Right. So there goes the history of following Iron Lore Entertainment's failure to secure funding for the next project. So that's, I believe that's at the end of the Titan Quest, as well as the Immortal Throne, which is the Hades Greek mythology arc. I think at the end of that, yeah, they were not able to secure further funding for the next project. So the former member of Iron Lore announced that they had created a new company on February 18, 2008. 9 days later, the company announced that it will be working as a contractor for Demiurge Studios, providing art and design leadership in one of the company's projects. Okay, so it doesn't matter. So on August 19, 2008, Crate announced that the acquisition of the Black Legion intellectual property that has been in development at Iron Lore before the studio closed. So Iron Lore had attracted significant interest from publishers while pitching Black Legion in late 2007, but had not been able to survive long enough to close the publishing deal. Crate had hoped to pick up on the momentum that Black Legion had gained, but due to the US economic recession, publisher opted to pass on a large project from the studio. They got pretty hurt back then, right? By the sound of it, like this is probably like the Black Legion probably is the predecessor for Grim Dawn. It probably had like stories already set in motion for the basis of Grim Dawn by the sound of it. But if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. Let me know. I would love to find out more. On July 27, 2009, Crate announced that it's acquired the license to use Iron Lore's Titan Quest game engine for their new action role-playing game project. On January 21, 2010, Crate announced that the name of their new project will be Grim Dawn. I'm not sure if they actually are they paying a license fee, or do they actually just bought out that license for that game engine. Yeah, so but that is good news, and that's why Grim Dawn feels so close to Titan Quest, because that is, that this is what they made. This is what Iron Lore, they're the former developers, former members of Iron Lore Entertainment, and they built Titan Quest. They were passionate about a game. You can feel that they were passionate about a game. They knew what they were doing. There were a goal there. The class combination, and that's inherited from Titan Quest. So on April 18, 2012, Crate gave an update on the Grim Dawn Kickstarter page, where it revealed that the core of the company consists of only 2 full-time employees, with additional work being provided by former Iron Lore employees where needed. So they sort of like, yeah, okay, so the 2 founders, and then they were handing out work, paying extra work as they need to be. So yeah. after the strong success of the Kickstarter campaign, and that's what we were talking about, the $280,000 goal, but getting 500,000, over 500,000 in the end. Crate were able to hire additional staff, several of whom were former employees of the defunct 38 studio. This allowed Crate to significantly increase the rate of development, and on May 15, 2013, Grim Dawn Alpha was released. On November the 5th, 2015, the game was released on Steam Early Access. In June 2015, Crate announced that they had hired Eric Sexton, former artist and designer at Blizzard North, stating that his role primarily involved in world building and the development of lore. Epic. So, and then Grim Dawn was released after that, and we all know what happened. You know, they get bigger and bigger and bigger, more successful. So that's the story, and what a happy story, isn't it? They went through a bit of hardship. You know, they ran out of funding. They couldn't secure funding. This is probably like a business issue that they do need to, I guess they probably learned the lesson from that. They probably need to have a better oversight on securing funding for their future projects. But I think they have proven to us that they are making the game for us, the gamers, and we are more than happy to support them financially. You know, use our wallets to vote, and any game that they come out, we will buy it and we will support them for any future project until, you know, the next wave of insanity comes through. And I hope they stay, you know, true to their to us, right, as the gamer. They actually started, I didn't know they only had like 2 full employees, and they were like outsourcing their work for extra work for other Iron Law employees. You know, that's really tough back in 2012. And then they got their Kickstarter funding, and then that's where the development speed really ramped up. I can imagine between this, when they acquired the license, between 2009 and 2012, how excruciatingly like grim that would feel to the founder of the Crate Entertainment. You think about, like, you've been building this game, you want this project to succeed, you've been working on it, you're trying to support your family, there's no income coming, right? And you probably have to do side jobs to make sure your family is supported, but at the same time you're building this new game that you can't see finishing in time in the quality that you want it, because you just don't have enough money, enough people to do it. That is probably the darkest period for Crate Entertainment, between that. But once they secured funding, boom, off they go, right? And they delivered. The main thing is they delivered, and they delivered above our expectation, right? How many Kickstarter stories do you have, you know, for video games that just delivered, or just in general? It's craziness. Anyways, happy birthday Grim Dawn for 10-year anniversary, 10-year roll, and I will continue to make videos for Grim Dawn from time to time and upload it. Now I have to apologize in advance that, you know, I do have a full-time job myself. I have a family of, you know, a few kids. So I don't really have the luxury of updating and streaming the game as much as I would love. So it might be a bit of delay in sometimes uploading the video, but I hope you enjoy Grim Dawn, and I certainly really love Grim Dawn. And yeah, I will see you, you know, on YouTube when I upload the videos. You know, send your comment through, I appreciate every single one of them. When I can reply. I will reply to any all of them, and you guys have been very, very supportive um, to me, to the game, as in general, right? And anyways, I'm babbling. This is for Grim Dawn, 10 years, happy birthday, and I'm Big Potato, and this is Spark Sanctuary, and I'll see you in game. Okay, bye bye.